He said nothing. In a room full of men shouting, defending their honor, proving their worth, he sat still. Calm, cold, quiet. And that's precisely why everyone feared him. In the world Machiavelli observed, whether in courts, castles, or councils, it was not the loudest who ruled, but the one who listened with an unreadable face. Silence is not weakness, it is a weapon. Because the moment you open your mouth, you reveal your thoughts, your desires, your fears. And in the ruthless game of power, information is currency. The man who talks too much spends all his gold at once. But the one who holds his tongue forces others to guess. That guessing creates doubt. Doubt creates fear. And fear creates control. Machiavelli didn't believe in playing fair. He believed in winning. And the first step to winning is knowing more than the other side, without letting them know how much you know. Most people talk because they want to be liked. They want to be understood. But the man who craves power has no such weakness. He knows that every word is a thread, and once you speak enough, anyone clever can pull at those threads and unravel who you are. So the smart man lets others speak. He lets them show their cards while he watches in silence, memorizing everything. The loud man seems strong until you realize he's broadcasting his insecurities to the world. The quiet man, on the other hand, sits back, learns the terrain, and waits for the moment when speaking one sentence will do more damage than 1,000 speeches. That's how power is built, not with noise, but with calculation. Not by reacting, but by observing. If you want to win in life, stop trying to be understood. Start trying to understand. Let others reveal themselves. Let them get emotional. Let them show you their weaknesses while you build an armor of stillness. Because once people think they can't read you, they'll begin to fear what you might do next. That's when you've already won. Not by fighting, not by explaining, but by mastering the one strategy Machiavelli trusted more than any other. Shut up and watch them fall apart. The most powerful man in the room is not the one who speaks first, but the one who speaks last, after everyone else has exposed their strategy. Machiavelli understood something that most people never do. Words are not just sounds, they are weapons, and every word you speak can and will be used against you by someone smarter, colder, and more patient. In the ruthless game of survival, dominance, and deception, your mouth is often your own worst enemy. Because when you talk, you give. You give away what you want. You give away what you fear. You give away your direction. And the clever man sitting quietly in the corner? He's taking everything you give and turning it into power. Most people speak to fill silence. They're uncomfortable with gaps in conversation. They want to seem smart, charming, important. But Machiavelli would say, if you truly are powerful, you never need to prove it with words. Power that needs to be spoken is already weak. True power is felt without explanation. That's why the greatest manipulators are calm, soft-spoken, and reserved. They don't rush to correct anyone. They don't argue. They let others speak themselves into destruction. In politics, in business, in relationships, it's the one who keeps their motives hidden who always wins in the end. And the best way to stay hidden? Say less. Listen more. The more someone talks, the more they reveal. And once you know what they need, what they love, what they fear, you own them. You can dangle what they desire. You can threaten what they're afraid of. You can exploit what they trust. But none of that is possible if you don't shut up and listen first. Silence is uncomfortable only for the weak. The strong use it like a mirror. They let others reflect themselves until they can be predicted, controlled, and destroyed. So if you want to win in life, stop explaining yourself. Never tell someone what you're going to do. Let your results speak for you. Never tell someone how much they've hurt you. Let your absence do the talking. Never beg. Never plead. Just become so silent they can feel your coldness in the room. That's power. That's fear. And fear is how you win. Quietly. You were taught that honesty is a virtue. That telling the truth makes you good, pure, trustworthy. But Machiavelli saw the world for what it really is. Not a place of virtue, but a battlefield of interests. In his world, and in ours, brutal honesty is a weakness disguised as moral strength. It is a trap. Because when you show someone your truth, your plans, your regrets, your insecurities, you give them a map to your destruction, and they will use it. Not today, maybe not tomorrow, but the moment your truth no longer benefits them, they will twist it, leak it, weaponize it. Think of every time you confided in someone hoping for loyalty, and later felt the sting of betrayal. That wasn't accidental. That was the price of being too open in a world that rewards masks. Machiavelli didn't preach deception for fun. He taught it for survival. He believed it is better to appear honest than to actually be honest. To build an image that others trust while secretly playing your own game. He understood that people don't want the truth. They want comfort. They want illusion. And the man who learns to give them that illusion while hiding his own intentions becomes untouchable. Never say more than necessary. Never tell them how much you make, what you truly want, or how badly you've been hurt. If you do, you give them leverage. You give them power over you. Instead, become a riddle. Speak in vague terms. Smile when you're angry. Laugh when you're calculating. And let them think you're simple, emotional, easy to read, while you read them like a book. That is the true art of the strategist, the one who hides behind silence and lets others expose themselves. The honest man plays a fair game and gets slaughtered. The strategic man plays a false game and wins. This doesn't mean becoming a liar. It means choosing your truth carefully. It means learning the difference between being sincere and being exposed. Machiavelli would say, if you want to rule your world, never let anyone see your entire map. Give them pieces, misdirect them, make them underestimate you, because the more they think they know you, the easier they are to control. And control, not honesty, is how power is preserved. They tell you to be kind, to be generous, to forgive, to give second chances, to turn the other cheek. And maybe that works in stories. Maybe in a perfect world, kindness would be enough. But Machiavelli didn't write for fairy tales. He wrote for those who live in the arena of blood, betrayal, and ambition. And in that world, kindness is dangerous if it's not backed by power, because kindness without strength is not seen as goodness. It's seen as submission. The world doesn't reward soft hearts unless they come with sharp claws. Be too forgiving and they'll push the line further. Be too giving and they'll take more than you offer. Say yes too often, and they'll expect it every time. And when you finally say no, they'll call you selfish. You weren't kind, you were useful. And when you're no longer useful, they'll discard you. Machiavelli warned that mercy can be crueler than punishment, that too much compassion can lead to chaos. A ruler who is too gentle invites disobedience. A leader who cannot strike fear will never earn respect. And the same is true in everyday life. The more people feel safe to test your boundaries, the more they will. But Machiavelli never said to be cruel for no reason. He said to be feared strategically, not hated blindly. That means you don't stop being kind, but you start being selectively kind. You offer your warmth as a gift, not a habit. You give second chances only when they serve a purpose. You help others when it aligns with your goals, a tool, not a rule. It's not about being heartless. It's about not letting your heart be a weakness others can exploit. When you walk into a room, let your silence speak louder than your smile. Let people sense that your kindness has limits, that your mercy can vanish if disrespected. Because when kindness is used with precision, it becomes terrifying. It confuses people. It makes them cautious. And that is power. Be like the lion and the fox. Brave when it's needed, sly when it's required. Show kindness as a king, not as a beggar hoping to be liked. Machiavelli didn't want you to be cold. He wanted you to be in control. And real control means never letting your goodness become someone else's opportunity to weaken you. There's a silent war being fought every day. Not with swords, not with laws, but with stories. The person who defines the narrative controls perception, and perception is power. Machiavelli understood this better than anyone. He knew that reality matters far less than appearance. It's not what you are, it's what they think you are. In the eyes of the world, truth bends to reputation. If people believe you are strong, they will act accordingly, even if you're barely holding it together. If they believe you are weak, they'll test you, even if you're 10 steps ahead. The narrative decides who gets respect, who is feared, who leads, and who follows. And here's the trap. If you don't shape your own image, someone else will do it for you. They'll define your intentions, twist your words, rewrite your history, and you'll spend your life reacting, defending, explaining. That's weakness. That's losing. Power begins with understanding that identity is not discovered. It is crafted. And every powerful figure in history, every Machiavellian genius mastered this art. They created legends around themselves. They fed rumors when it served them. They let silence do the talking. Because mystery, when wielded correctly, is more terrifying than clarity. You must learn to manage your myth. In the workplace, in relationships, in public life. Don't just speak. Stage your message. Control what people associate with your presence. Become unpredictable, yet consistent in your principles. Let people wonder what you'll do next, but never doubt that you'll follow through. This doesn't mean being fake, it means being deliberate. It means never letting your worst day define your legacy. It means projecting strength when you feel uncertain. Because if the mask is powerful, enough people treat it like truth. And eventually that truth becomes real. Machiavelli would tell you that a wise man hides his thoughts and reveals only what strengthens his image. He knows when to speak in riddles, when to tell a partial truth, and when to disappear entirely. You don't have to lie, you have to strategize. Even silence is a sentence in your story. So ask yourself, are you living by your own narrative, or one someone else wrote for you? Because in this world, the one who controls the story doesn't just survive, they win. Every time you explain yourself, you lower your value. Every time you plead to be understood, you surrender your authority. This is not about arrogance. This is about power. Machiavelli understood that those who command respect do not beg for it. They don't chase validation. They don't justify every decision to every critic. They act. They execute. And the world either adapts or gets left behind. You see, the more you explain, the more openings you create. Openings for doubt, for attack, for reinterpretation. When you speak too much, you give others the tools to weaken you. You reveal your thought process. You show hesitation. You try to prove your intentions are pure, but in the process, you prove you're not ready for the consequences of your own choices. Power doesn't explain, it declares. It moves with clarity and leaves others to interpret. People may not always agree, but they will be forced to respect the conviction. In a world ruled by perception, silence often has more weight than justification. The king doesn't explain why he sits on the throne. He is the throne. When someone challenges your authority, don't panic. Don't write long speeches to win them over. Let your results speak. Let your energy speak. Let your boundaries speak. If someone misunderstands you, good. Let them. Misunderstanding is a wall. It keeps the manipulators out. It keeps your strategy safe. Machiavelli believed that it's better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both. But even more powerful is to be respected. And respect is born not from explanation but from presence. From being the person who doesn't chase approval. From being the one who doesn't need everyone to clap before taking the stage. Think of the people you admire most. Did they ask for permission? Did they pause to be liked? Or did they carve a path and let the world catch up? You do not need to be understood to be great. You do not need consensus to lead. The moment you stop over-explaining is the moment you step into authority. Because silence isn't emptiness, it's control. And those who control the silence win. The moment they know what you're thinking, you've already lost. Because power is not just in what you say, it's in what you withhold. Machiavelli understood that silence is not emptiness. It's a weapon, a mask, a fortress. When you reveal your thoughts too soon, you hand over the map to your enemies. You tell them where you're going, why you're going there, and how to stop you. But when you keep your thoughts close, people are forced to guess. And that guesswork creates fear, curiosity, respect. They can't predict you, so they can't control you. They can't prepare for your next move, so they have to wait. And waiting gives you the upper hand. You become the one setting the tempo, the one defining the rhythm, the one who doesn't speak unless it serves a purpose. When everyone else is oversharing, overspeaking, and overreacting, your silence becomes intimidating, mysterious, royal. People talk too much because they're afraid of being misunderstood. They think if they just say the right thing, everything will fall into place. But in reality, the more you talk, the more ammunition you give. Your enemies will use your words against you. Your friends will interpret them to their advantage. And your authority will dissolve, word by word. That's why the master of power says little. Not because he has nothing to say, but because what he says has weight. He knows the value of the unspoken. He knows that withholding creates tension, and tension creates power. It's not about being distant. It's about being deliberate. When you choose silence, you create space. And in that space, your presence becomes larger than life. People project onto you. They wonder what you're planning. They worry you're steps ahead. And most of the time, you are. Because while they're reacting, you're observing. While they're revealing, you're calculating. While they're bleeding power through constant noise, you're gaining strength in the shadows. So learn to hold your tongue. Let your enemies walk into their own traps. Let your allies think you're simple while you build in silence. Power belongs to the one who says less and means more. Because once they know what you're thinking, they can stop you. But if they never know, they can never win. The greatest mistake a man can make is assuming that loyalty comes from love. It doesn't. Loyalty comes from necessity. Machiavelli warned us, your friends will betray you the moment it costs them nothing, but your enemies, they'll stay loyal when they need you. Friends expect favors. They feel entitled. They take kindness for granted. They grow comfortable, and in comfort, they lose respect. They speak to you as an equal, and when ambition stirs inside them, they no longer see you as a leader. They see you as competition. But an enemy is different. And the enemy knows your strength. They respect your power because they've felt it. They understand consequences, and more importantly, they understand opportunity. When you extend a hand to an enemy, they recognize it's not sentiment, it's strategy, and that makes them more cautious, more loyal, and far more useful than a complacent friend. An enemy you've conquered and brought into your camp is worth more than 10 friends who've never challenged you, because that enemy had to choose to align with you. That enemy had to swallow pride, shift allegiance, and admit your superiority. And when someone does that, they rarely forget what it cost them. They rarely forget what it cost them. That memory binds them to you. So don't be afraid to use your enemies. Reward them if they serve you. Give them roles, responsibilities, influence. But never trust them blindly. Keep them close, but never let them believe they're irreplaceable. Their loyalty is strategic, not emotional. And that's exactly what makes it reliable. Friends, on the other hand, will blur the line between personal and political. They'll ask for more than they earn. They'll expect forgiveness without repayment. They'll bring emotion into decisions that require only calculation. Power has no room for sentiment. So if you must choose, use your enemies and watch your friends with suspicion. Give nothing away for free. Every relationship is a transaction, whether you admit it or not. The moment you forget that, you become weak. You become exposed. So study those who oppose you. Learn from them. And when the time is right, recruit them. Not because you forgive, but because you understand. Because in the world Machiavelli painted, power belongs not to the loyal, but to the one who knows how to turn enemies into weapons. Fairness is a myth sold to the powerless. It is a comforting illusion whispered into the ears of the weak, so they stay docile, hopeful, and obedient. But those who rise, those who rule, know the truth. The game is never fair, and it's not meant to be. Machiavelli didn't write for the common man. He wrote for the prince, the strategist, the one who understands that control matters more than justice and perception matters more than reality. Fairness is a story used to manipulate emotions, while control is a force used to bend reality. If you still believe the world will reward you for being good, you've already lost. Because the world doesn't care how kind you are, it doesn't reward fairness. It obeys dominance. The man who controls perception, who shapes narratives, who commands fear or admiration, wins. Not because he is fair, but because he is unapologetically strategic. The strong never complain about fairness. They don't ask to be treated better. They shape their environment. They eliminate threats. They use people or remove them. They don't wait for the world to be kind. They force it to respect them. Fairness is for children. Power is for those who understand leverage. If you walk into a room and ask for equal treatment, you've already lowered your position. But if you walk in with presence, with results, with authority, the world has no choice but to accommodate you. Power is not given, it is taken. And the moment you stop trying to be liked and start trying to be respected, you'll feel the difference. You'll see how people shift around you, how they measure their words, how they fear your silence more than your speech. That's when you'll know you've begun to detach from the illusion of fairness. So shut up about fairness. It doesn't exist. What exists is leverage, timing, strategy, and will. Don't play by the rules others gave you. Rewrite them. Don't seek justice. Seek outcomes. Don't beg for equality. Demand advantage. Because Machiavelli's world is cold, calculated, and brutal, and only those who abandon fantasy can shape it. The weak pray for fairness. The strong create consequences. Stop talking about what's right. Start thinking about what works. In a world drowning in noise, silence is your sharpest tool. Machiavelli knew that words often betray you, that chatter reveals your plans and weakens your position. The truly powerful understand that silence is not emptiness, it is strategy. To speak less is to give others less ammunition. When you keep your thoughts to yourself, you maintain control over your narrative. Silence makes others uneasy, forces them to reveal their intentions first, and gives you time to calculate your next move. The loudest voices rarely hold the most power. Power is measured in the weight of your presence, not the volume of your speech. The wise prince listens more than he talks, observes more than he acts, and strikes only when the moment is perfectly timed. Silence creates mystery, and mystery breeds respect and fear. Two essential currencies in the game of power. It also shields you from judgment, criticism, and manipulation. When you speak less, you appear more confident, more composed, and more dangerous. People try to fill the silence with their own words, exposing their weaknesses and intentions. Use this to your advantage. Silence can be a shield or a weapon, depending on how you wield it. It protects your plans and attacks your opponent's confidence. Sometimes silence is the most potent way to say, I am in control. In negotiations, in conflicts, in leadership, silence forces others to reveal themselves first. They panic, stumble, and reveal their true desires or fears. The silent one controls the tempo of the interaction, the narrative, and ultimately, the outcome. Never underestimate the power of your quiet presence. The world is filled with noise, distractions, and empty promises. Be the calm storm that others cannot predict or resist. Let your actions speak louder than words. Machiavelli teaches us that true power lies not in what you say, but in what you don't say. The moment you embrace silence, you stop playing the game others expect and start playing it on your own terms. So shut up, win, and let silence do the talking for you.